America is not a finished project. It is a country that is constantly making and remaking itself as new generations of immigrants come to our shores. So whether your family came 400 years ago or 4 days ago, you've got an important story through which we can better understand the American story. Your Story, Our Story is the museum's digital program designed to help us collect stories beyond those of the Lower East Side. Everyone in America has some kind of movement story. We are a nation on the move. By collecting those stories, we hope to understand the entire role that movement has played in shaping the ongoing creation of our nation.
Your Story, Our Story is a national initiative of the Tenement Museum where we invite anyone to submit a story of an object or tradition that helps tell part of their family's cultural heritage. It's easy to submit a story on Your Story, Our Story. You can go to the website, click Add Your Story, and enter 250 words about the object or tradition that you're sharing. And after that, it's part of the Tenement Museum's digital exhibit. There might be people who submit objects similar to the ones that you submit, and we hope that people who contribute to the site will also explore a little bit how their stories connect to others and what differences might exist, but also what similarities. Your Story, Our Story is about more than immigration. We explore where do we come from? What are our stories? How have our families changed over time? And through each entry, we understand a little bit better what it means to be American today. Your Story, Our Story entries can be about anything. An object, a tradition, a song, recipes, a name, intangible things. The objects in our collection are everyday, ordinary objects, toys, medicine bottles, fragments of newspaper. These everyday objects become the vehicles for stories.
The hardest thing about Your Story, Our Story is fitting your story within the limited number of characters we give you. So think like Mark Twain, who once said, "If I'd had more time, I would have written less."
My name is Pedro Garcia. I was born originally in Venezuela. My family came to the United States when I was around 10 years old. My story for the Your Story, Our Story website is a book. In Venezuela, I had just finished 4th grade, and this book was about geography and history. It helped me learn the history of Venezuela, world events, and geography. And I brought it with me when I came to the United States, and I felt really connected to it through time. There are other 5th graders and 6th graders that are probably going through something similar that I went through. Fitting in, learning language, being new to a country, and I think that it's important for others to write stories like this one to the Your Story, Our Story website.
For Your Story, Our Story, I chose the Kinara, which is a candle holder used to celebrate Kwanzaa. I chose that object because the way my family celebrates Kwanzaa, we use it as an opportunity to come together and share stories. And the sharing stories usually are immigration stories or migration stories. We honor the elders who are present. We reflect on those who've come before us. It's been a way for us to share a legacy of their strength with our daughter, with her friends, with other family members.
I was born in Cuba, and when I was 3, we emigrated as a family to this country. I shared this photograph on Your Story, Our Story because a few years ago when my mother passed away, I actually came across this photograph. When my family left Cuba, it was during the Castro Revolution. X number of refugees were able to come to America, and my family was one of them. We could only bring very few things when we left Cuba, so photographs was not one of the things that we brought. So this was the only photograph that I really have of myself as a child. I often think about why my mother brought the toy car in the suitcase out of all the things that we had to bring with us. I think she understood what it meant to me. You need things that remind you of home and remind you of what's familiar to you. Whether they are real things like a toy car or whether it's something in our hearts or in our heads or some tradition that a family does, those are the things that we bring with us that infuse this culture in this land that is America.
When you participate in Your Story, Our Story, in the end you're giving your family a gift. The gift of a story which will be passed down through generations and help your descendants understand how your family came to be the people they are. What is history? History in the end is our understanding of our story. And by contributing your story to the Your Story, Our Story program, what you're doing is adding your little bit of history to the larger American history. You're helping people understand the common humanity that we all share and how that humanity has helped shape the nation in which we live today. By contributing your story to Your Story, Our Story, what you do is help us understand another piece of the American puzzle. And when we assemble those thousands and thousands of individual stories, we get history.